All right, let's talk about something I'm sure a lot of you have felt. You know that feeling? Where you're the absolute engine of your business, but you're also its biggest bottleneck? It is such a common trap for leaders. So today, we're going to break down how you can shift from being that solo powerhouse to building a team that can actually, truly scale.
You know, it all really comes back to this one simple but incredibly powerful truth. That whole I can do it all myself thing. I mean, it's not just a recipe for total burnout. It's literally a hard ceiling on how far your business can possibly go.
And that's the absolute core of the problem, right there. When you're the one doing everything, you become the bottleneck. It's just a fact. Your own personal capacity, how many hours you have in a day, that becomes the ceiling for your business's growth. It really is that simple.
Okay, so this reality, it leads directly into something we call the leader's burnout trap. And it's a tricky one, because it's a cycle that feels super productive when you're in it. But trust me, it ultimately leads absolutely nowhere fast.
And I bet this is a story that sounds familiar to a lot of you. It starts out innocently enough, right? You're doing everything because, well, you're the expert. But pretty soon, that expertise starts to feel more like a burden. You might feel like you're in control, but really, you're trapped. And you're not just limiting your own growth, you're limiting the growth of your entire business.
So, the big question is, how do you break free from that trap? Well, I'll tell you one thing. It is not about working harder. No way. It's about a really fundamental shift in how you think. A shift that unlocks the real energy of your team. And this is it. This is the absolute game-changing mindset shift. You have to evolve from being the best doer in the company to being the best builder. Your new job, your main focus, becomes finding and empowering a team that can achieve things you could never, ever do alone.
And what we're aiming for here is what you might call a multiplication of energy. It's not just about adding one more person to do one person's worth of work. No, it's about creating a team where the total output is way, way bigger than the sum of its parts. It's that magic synergy that happens when you combine real clarity with genuine empowerment.
So how in the world do you actually unlock this energy? It's a great question. And it's not magic, it's not a secret sauce. It's about having the right frameworks in place to really understand people and then create the right structure for them. And that is exactly what we are about to dive into.
Okay, let's kick things off with a really simple but incredibly powerful way to look at your team, understanding the difference between what we'll call creators and processors.
So you can really think about your team in these two primary ways of thinking. On one hand, you've got the creators. These are your what-if people, the big idea folks, the visionaries. And on the other hand, you've got your processors. These are your how-to people. They're the ones who are detail-oriented, logical, and they actually bring those big visions to life. You absolutely need both to win. They're like two halves of the same coin.
And make no mistake, if you have an imbalance here, it's pretty much a recipe for failure. Think about it, a team of all creators. You'll have a million brilliant ideas that just never go anywhere. They'll never see the light of day. And a team of all processors. Well, they might be super efficient, but they could be busy working on things that don't actually move the business forward. The magic, the real key, is in the balance.
Okay, so understanding how people work, creator versus processor, that's a fantastic start. But if you really want to unlock their full potential, you got to go deeper. You need to understand why they do what they do. And for that, we're going to look at a really powerful tool called the Enneagram.
So what is the Enneagram? Well, it's basically a personality typing system, but it's an awesome one because it helps you understand people based on their core motivations. It looks right past the surface level stuff to uncover what really drives each of us. It's the why behind the what. And the whole system is really elegantly built around just 3 core centers of intelligence. That's it, just 3. And these action centers, as they're called, are really the fundamental drivers of all our behavior. You can think of it like this. What do you lead with? Your gut, your instinct, your heart, your feelings, or your head, your thinking? The Enneagram breaks it down into these 3 centers, and it helps you figure out which one is sort of the default operating system for you and for everyone on your team. So let's just look at a few quick examples to see how this works. You've got a type 8, the challenger, who comes from the gut center. They are motivated by control and strength. Then you have a type 3, the achiever, from the heart center. For them, it is all about success and winning. And then a type 5, the investigator, from the head center. They're motivated by knowledge and understanding. Now just imagine trying to motivate all 3 of those people with the exact same speech or incentive. It just wouldn't work, right? Understanding these different drivers is absolutely key. All right, so now you've got some tools to understand your people's styles and their core motivations. The next piece of the puzzle is building the right playground for them to actually thrive in, and that means structuring your business for high performance.
So how do you actually do this? Let's walk through 5 key steps. First, you've got to identify the key activities in your business. What are the big buckets of work? Second, try to keep your org structure as flat as possible. It just makes communication so much easier. Third, and this is a big one, remember that a leader can't really focus on more than, say, 7 key activities at once. Fourth, it's okay, especially in smaller businesses, for one person to cover a few different activities. And finally, here's the golden rule. Every single key activity needs just one person assigned to it as the owner.
Okay, let's make this way more concrete with a real-world example. Let's say you have a cooking oil business. The key activities are pretty straightforward, right? You have buying, storing, manufacturing, then marketing and sales, and of course accounts. For each of those 5 areas, you need one person who wakes up in the morning owning that result.
But just assigning an owner isn't enough. To make that ownership really stick, you need a crystal clear accountability system. And that means having things like agreed upon terms of reference, measurable goals, or KRAs, clear pay, defined rewards and incentives, and a set calendar for performance reviews. Look, it's all about creating total clarity and getting rid of any and all guesswork.
And all of this, everything we've talked about, it brings us to this one final really powerful question to think about. See, 10 years from now, you will definitely arrive somewhere. That's a guarantee. The clock is ticking. The real question is, where?
And here's the most important takeaway from all of this. The future doesn't get better just by hoping it will. It gets better by planning, by taking intentional action. The choices you are making right now, that choice to shift from being a doer to a builder, that's what will define where you end up in 10 years. So the time to start fixing your next 10 years is right now.